With me now is Erin Neilson, and we're going to talk about one of the trainees in her barn, and that's Spee Club. Now, he's a 9-year-old trotter, so we'll start out with when did you get him and how did you get him?
Okay, so got him as a 3-year-old up at Harrisburg, and he's been with us ever since.
So now he actually had a couple really good years there. In fact, I think one year he made like $88,000. Last year, he did not win at all. So what's the story there?
He was racing good, and then towards the end of Harrington, he just wasn't racing very good. So I was like, well, it's been a little while. He usually gets a break anyway, so I turned him out. He's only supposed to be turned out for a couple months, and then kids in life happened, and I was like, oh, I'll start training back next week, and then next thing you know, a lot of time passed.
And now he's racing really good. So he just turned around. What's the magic there?
Took a little while to figure out, brought him back, and he just wasn't really racing good. Kept trying, and he just wasn't performing. And I was like, well, I'll give him till January. I said, and if he doesn't do any good, I'll retire him. Maybe he's just, he's 8. Maybe he's just had enough. And all of a sudden, he came around. It was actually Montrell. Figured out that, I guess when we were popping the plugs, he was getting nervous and was cutting his air off. And he's like, well, let's try to leave him in. And ever since then, he's been racing really good.
Now, tell me about his personality, because as we mentioned, I mean, my gosh, he's almost double digits, and he's just now becoming steady because he is a stallion.
He is. So his 8-year-old year, he started becoming steady. Before that, people would paddock him if I couldn't go, and were like, oh my God, I can't believe it's a stud. I didn't know till I was bathing him. And I'm like, yeah, surprise. And actually the Lasix vet, same thing, 8 years old, bringing him into the Lasix barn, and he's screaming, and she's like, oh my God, he's a stud? I didn't know all this time. And I'm like, yeah. But I don't know, he just got steady this year. He wants everybody to know hey, here I am, and he's mouthy, that's for sure.
Now, I know he's the king of the barn. Is that fair to say?
Yes, he is definitely the king of the barn. He's the first one to go out to the field, the first one to be fed. If he's out in his field and we have to catch him, nobody's allowed to take anything out, or because if he sees action, he won't let you catch him. He wants to be out there prancing. So everybody works around him. He's very spoiled.
And he has a home for life. I mean, we talked about that. I mean, this is like not only a racehorse making you money, but also he's going to be a pet when he's done racing.
He definitely is. I love him, and the kids love him. If we ever got rid of him even to another forever home, my kids would be devastated, and so would I. But yeah, he'll be with us forever.
I know that you've been riding your whole life. You've always ridden horses. Have you ever tried to ride him or anything like that?
Actually, funny story, I bought a new saddle to ride him, and it's been sitting in my tack room for a year. It's on the to-do list one day. But yeah, I would like to ride him, yeah.
Now, I noticed that you train a lot of trotters. Like whenever I see your name, I'm like, oh, it's probably a trotter. And I look, oh yeah, it's a trotter. Why is that? You just prefer trotters over pacers, or it just works out that way that you get trotters?
I do. I just love the trotters. I've had a pacer here and there. Actually, my first horse was a pacer, and my dad helped me with her, and we did really well with her. And I've had a couple since then, but I don't know. I just love the trotters. It's just, I don't know what it is about them, but I love them.
We should mention that her dad is George Dennis, so she definitely learned from a great horseman, So yeah, you're blessed in that respect, yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. We're going to check out the king of the stable right now.
Sounds great. Thank you.